I'm going to hit record. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our last summer series session with yours truly. I entitled this Social Media Strategy, kind of the foundational pieces required for success. Now I've kind of renamed it just the Social Media Blueprint for Schools, and you hopefully have gotten that great handout. I think it's great because my social media graphic designer always makes me look great. But what I've been working with schools obviously for 5.5 years, and there's some things that are just fundamental to getting things right. And I know Angie and Aaron and Jamie and Jenny, you guys are all on this journey. And so there are definitely going to be things that you already are great at, but you are going to be able to pick up and say, hey, we kind of missed this step. And that's what I'm hoping that you're going to get today is that, hey, we really should go back and revisit this to just make sure we're set. And so as always, we want you to ask questions. Our social media efforts are all about celebrating your school one story at a time. And as I've started every session this summer, our ground rules are just don't get overwhelmed. Wherever you're at, it's okay to embrace it. I don't think many of you are going to get overwhelmed because, like I said, many of you are on this journey already, but some of you are going to be watching this recording and maybe you're just getting started out. You're going to take a couple things away, and that's going to be awesome because you're going to be able to make your social media presence that much better this school year. Please make sure to ask every question. So anything that I'm talking about, you need examples, you need, whatever, please ask every question to make sure we get those answered for you, and expect prizes. So because I am leading today, I'm actually going to pick our winners afterwards. I do try to spread those out a little bit. But just as a note, our July challenge, which ends tomorrow, July 31st, has 0 submissions yet. It's like to try a new app and post it. So I'm just going to encourage all of you on the call today, get entered into that contest because we'll be, drawing for another prize. But we will give some prizes out today, which will be awesome because I love to be able to give out Celebrate Your School One Story at a Time swag. The slides, the resources, the recording, everything's going to be provided to you. Right within the slides, I have some direct links to some articles and blogs and policies and all of that. So this is going to be helpful. This is also going to be a helpful webinar that might be shareable with some folks on your team that maybe don't understand like the fundamental pieces for social media. This would be a really good starter space, a starter presentation to give to them or to share to them. And then as always, we hope you're on Twitter because Twitter is a great place for professional development. So if you are tuning in today and want to take a picture of some key takeaways and tweet those out, tag me, Andrea Gribble, hashtag Social School for EDU, hashtag School PR is a great spot to find a lot of things. But I like to sometimes take notes by tweeting things out because that's a great spot to keep them. So as I start out, social media for schools, at the beginning, I knew nothing. And I like to say, I like this quote, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear, because there are amazing things that you can do in life. But then obviously with your school and your school story, but at first you're going to be scared. You're going to be really scared about it. But the best thing you can do is give yourself knowledge, right? And talk to other people and learn. And then you realize that it's really not so scary. I just wanted to take you guys back just a little bit, back to 2014. I had just gotten laid off from corporate America. I had a great career and suddenly found myself as a single mom, and I started a business. And I had to start somewhere, and I started with a company called Marketing on the Move. That's what I called myself. I was going to help small businesses use social media and other, digital marketing techniques to get in front of their customer because it's really hard, right, to get their attention. And I think still in 2019 it is. But I just laugh because this is like totally my personality, right? I'm just kind of out there. But then these are really funny first shots that I had. Like, the one on the right obviously isn't so bad. Could you get a more awkward picture right, than that one up in the top. Like, oh yeah, that's so natural. You often sit with your computer laying back on a lounger, right? I do not do that. I'm at my standing desk right now because I get really excited. But it's funny. But I like to show this because everybody has a beginning. And if I went back and showed you the beginning of my social media pages when I first started out, like on Facebook for my school district in Little New Auburn, you would laugh. And I have shared those in some of my old graphic stuff. You got to embrace where you're at and then go from there. But Social School for EDU, our mission is really celebrate students, connect communities, give the community a front row seat to the great things going on. And I hope that that's what your plan is at your school, of really what your mission is. And I am, most of you all know me, mom of 6 kids, some of which are roaming around. So we're hoping that they're going to stay quiet today. But we actually serve over 80 school districts now. We've shared more than 1 million posts, I think, by now. And I love being able to serve school districts because it's the best job in the world. You guys have great things to celebrate. And then I have an amazing team, and this is just a few of them, but we have about 30 account managers that serve our schools, and we absolutely just love it. So I want to dig in to the social media blueprint. Basically have 8 foundational pieces, okay? 8 foundational pieces. So to get you guys going, I really want to see in your chat bar, maybe you looked at the blueprint, but what do you feel that you're still struggling with, even where you're at now? What are you still struggling with that might be one of these foundational pieces? Please chat in the chat bar. I don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself the whole time. That is a bad feeling. So what is something that you feel like your district or you yourself might still be struggling with a little bit in regards to the foundational pieces? Erin, always struggling to get enough content, which, Erin, I don't think you came to our breakout session, but we're doing that on Thursday. You're going to get a lot of good ideas there. So content, staff engagement, and that's one thing that we're particularly going to talk about because, Joanna, we're at the time of year, right? It's just about time for school year to start, although some of you have already started. But to really talk about how do we engage staff? How do we get them to feel like they're part of the whole process? Because you can't do it alone. Keep popping in your things that you're struggling with. That will be appreciated. And then your questions as we go. So these are kind of the 8 things that I identified as the foundational pieces, that blueprint that you have to have in order to have successful social media. Jenny is struggling with new ideas, content, and staff engagement, and then some staffs post a lot, some not at all. Makes parents think I'm being selective. Just had that today, Savannah, or I'm not sure who it is. I can't pronounce your name if it's kind of or combined. Oh, Sue, sorry, Sue Van Hall, S. Van Hall. Somebody that just said, they think all we post about is FFA. Well, the FFA advisor happens to have an awesome page and they share content off of there. But guess what? Now after a year, some of the other organizations are starting to have their page so she can pull content off there. So this is really good stuff. Thank you guys so much for sharing. So the 8 things that I've really identified is policy, what platforms you're on, your branding, creating that system for content, staff engagement, which is key, consistency, has to have consistency, measurement, and ongoing professional development. And I did try to do these in order of what I think needs to be figured out first before you get to the others. Because it's kind of a chicken and egg thing, right? Like you want to have social media and just get started, but it's really hard to do if you don't have policy or you don't put some thought in to what platforms you're going to be on, right? That's hard to do. So I just really tried to lay it out in the order that I thought made most sense, and hopefully it makes sense to you. So we'll go fairly quickly. Not many of you are looking at policy, but it can be challenging, right? And I peppered in some really nice motivational Motivational Monday type posts with some really cute pictures from a lot of our account managers. So I hope that will help inspire you as well, to give you some things to look back at. But when it comes to policy, there's two things really. I think social media use for staff and possibly social media use for students, and then your commenting policy. I think those are two things that you really need to have etched in to help support you as you go forward with your social media efforts. So I really love the example, and this one is still a draft from 2015, but I think it's very good, from Eudora. And Kristen Majette wrote a great book called Embracing Social Media, and she's got a subsequent one that's out there on Amazon as well. But you can look at that, read through that. It's really meant to empower your staff instead of scare them, right? Give them some parameters of what they can do and maybe what they maybe shouldn't do, but mainly what they can do with social media. And so they've got a lot of things there, and actually I have it linked right here in the presentation. So you can go and you can look at this. So now might be a great time, or it might be on your to-do list, of let's re-examine what our social media policy is for our staff. Wondering who's watching, do you guys think you have a great social media policy for your staff? If you do, if you wouldn't mind posting a link to your policy, if you have it handy, share that in the chat bar, because that would be awesome to get everybody a few more examples. But I just really like this example, so I refer to it a lot. Employee-student relations, it just covers all of that. And so again, you're going to have this link in your presentation. But if you have another policy that's a great example, we'd love to share it with other people. I also have a blog that I had written several years ago that has additional examples. So again, this will take you to not only the Eudora one, but it'll take you through some different thoughts of when you create your social media policy. Encourage, don't scare your staff, stress that personal responsibility, and addressing the employee-student relations. I think that's really important. And then this has a bunch of links to policies from a few different schools. And so it'll just give you some great examples. Jamie just says, we have staff social media policies that everyone signs. It's part of school board and onboarding process. Something on the list to review this year. So that's great. So yes, you gotta have some efforts in doing that. It's only gonna help you as you move forward. And then commenting policy is also something that's going to really be heavily relied on by you. If you're the one managing social media for your district, you want some kind of guidelines to know how to respond when you get some comments. And we have this generic kind of commenting guideline. You can call them commenting policies. I know policies sometimes have to get approved by the school board. One way to get around that is just maybe call it commenting guidelines. But we have a direct link. We always include it on our notes page of our Facebook pages. You should also list it out on your website. But this is nice because if anybody ever violates it, you could always copy them and remind them, hey, here's our social media commenting guidelines. But we really talk about zero tolerance for cyberbullying, discriminatory, political, racist, sexist, that make attacks on students, employees, guests, or other individuals. Some of those threats or something like that. Like, we reserve the right to delete those comments and even ban users if we need to. This is going to help you, because if there's something that somebody doesn't like, they are expressing their opinion, but it's not necessarily to this extent, you really need to talk to your leadership team to say, well, it's not really violating the commenting policy. Now, if somebody says we don't want that on there, you are going to have to remove it. But remember, yeah, and Allison, you'll get this, and so you'll get all of these. This is one of the big things that you can rely on. We do hide comments on Facebook. That's your number one interaction with commenting is always going to be on Facebook. So you can hide something, just as a note. Nobody gets notified when their comment is hid. They still see the post, as does everybody else. But if you delete something, it's going to be deleted, and we always take screenshots and things like that. But Jamie just shared, this was one of the goals that her coach had for her from our team, and got it checked off. And you know, great to have some accountability with our coaching program. But yes, I love that. And you had to hide some comments today, Allison, so sometimes that happens. So just these two things are really fundamental. If you don't know that you can have a note section, if that doesn't show on your Facebook page, go into your settings and just your page type, and you can actually enable those tabs to add that. So let me know if you have questions on that. But that's where we basically include that on all of our pages. So definitely good. It's a framework for monitoring your comments, hiding comments, deleting comments, blocking people. Like, it helps give you a backbone. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so if you want to talk to your legal counsel, I would always advise that from your school. The hard part is lawyers don't really understand Facebook, so sometimes they'll just say, block all the comments. It's like, no, we need those comments, right? But they may not understand it, so that can be a challenge. But it does help give you some support when you're making decisions, and it makes your job easier. So definitely easier. Okay, number 2 for our kind of blueprint is platforms. It's very important to think through what platforms you want to use, and these are the social channels, right? These are some of what you have. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Snapchat, Vimeo. You know, you've got all of these channels out there. I'm not going to talk in depth about all of them, but I will share a few thoughts on kind of each of them. Facebook, I had a meme, but it was not operating from me, but the mic drop. Facebook is number 1. You need to get Facebook right, or you don't even have to worry about any of the others. And if anybody, I'd love to hear it, is Facebook number 1 at your school district? Of everybody that's on right now, is Facebook your number 1 most engaged, most fans for your school district? Some of you may have Twitter because you started with Twitter first. That's great. I'd love to hear that. But yeah, Jamie says yes. Jenny from Marshfield says yes. Sue says yes. Angie for sure. Yeah, everybody's Facebook. So that's number 1. That's where you need to be. Your audience there are your parents, your grandparents, your community. And I will say it is your students. So your students are going to be there. If you're showing up there, they may not interact, but they will see your content. And just, you know, as a teaser, we're going to talk more about this definitely in our membership group, but student influencers, you know, being able to take information from Facebook and maybe they share it on their own Snapchat account, right? Like, that's awesome. Kim, yes, for Pacelli too. That's great. But they are there. So your audience is almost everybody. You really want to have a strong district presence. So we talk a lot about school pages, district pages. I'm a big believer in a really strong district presence. If you're doing Facebook well during the school year, you should be posting at least twice a day on Facebook. Your heavy comments are expected. You need to make sure you're monitoring and responding. So you need to be paying attention every day. Now, for both of these things, posting twice a day, some of you are like, content. Well, tune in on Thursday. We're having our 9 strategies for creating awesome content from Heidi and I. And then the comments and monitoring those and just finding the time, that's our webinar coming up in September with Stephanie Sins and I. Stephanie does all the training for our team. And so those 2 recorded webinars, like if you're watching this on recording, you know, those recordings are going to be accessible. Those are going to help you. But just so you know, on Facebook, if you feel overwhelmed already with just Facebook, don't add more platforms. Just say no, right? And so you just need to focus and you need to embrace it where you're at right now and really focus on that before you think of other things. Because if you're trying to focus on, oh my gosh, I got to add Instagram. And Twitter, I'm trying to get out there I'm trying to post 3 times a day on Twitter, and we're doing this and that, and you're responsible for website. It's like, you don't have any time for anything else. So if you feel overwhelmed with just Facebook, don't add anymore, okay? So that's my kind of thing on Facebook. Instagram is my second favorite channel for schools, especially in Midwest. Not as big in Twitter, but your audience on Instagram, students and young parents, and even middle-aged parents are on there, right? Because we're trying to monitor what our kids are doing, but we really can't keep up with them. True story, right? I think with Instagram, you can have a district presence, and you should if you want to grab this channel. And you could have a school presence as well. Now, there is some algorithms still going on with Instagram, but I'm okay with allowing a school, like an elementary school, that wants an Instagram page. I would let them have it. I would say, now some of you, if you are on Instagram, if you would chat in the chat bar how often you're trying to post on Instagram would be great. We are not posting as often as we do on Facebook. We're trying to post at least twice a week. Some of our districts we post more, but at least twice a week, so we're getting great images out there. You can expect, as I show below, less comments, more hearts. So they're just liking the post, they're just showing those hearts. Instagram stories are a great opportunity. Great opportunity to share insights and looks in at your school district. It doesn't have to be you. You can grab a young teacher. We've got a young principal that loves to do Instagram stories. And just so you know, one of our upcoming skills sessions in the membership group is going to be on Instagram stories. So pay attention to that, because that's going to be helpful, because she's going to kind of explain her thought process as a principal of how she uses it. But Instagram, Angie tries to post twice a week in the summer and more in the school year. Sometimes it's tough to get the great pics. Yes, you need to have great pictures for Instagram or it just doesn't work. So that's key. But that's just a little on Instagram. Twitter, I think your audience can be your teachers, news outlets, students. Ask your community if your students are on Twitter. If they are, awesome. If they're not, you have to decide whether you want to be there. I love Twitter because you can encourage everybody to use it, to use your hashtag. You can retweet and you can post daily on there. Make sure to use that district hashtag, so critical, and more on that later. And again, less comments, more love or retweets, right, on Twitter. So it's not going to be as challenging or time consuming to monitor Twitter as it is like a Facebook. So Facebook, you're kind of starting out as the most involved, most time commitment, right? I'm just thinking of a funny, like if you were dating in high school, like if you had to date one person, you've got to put a lot of time into that on your Facebook. If you're going to try to date others, that's a little bit more challenging, but maybe some of these don't take as much time. I don't know. That's probably a bad analogy, but funny stuff. YouTube, our audience really there is everybody. It can be everyone. Everyone uses YouTube. It's the second most used search engine in the world. The location, it's the location to post video content worth archiving. So that's what I want you to think with that lens. Is this worth us looking at 6 months later or, longer? If it's just a little video on a Fayed obstacle course, maybe not. But maybe if it's a student project showing how they are studying, solar energy, which my daughter's going to see tomorrow, like you could post that. So I think that would be great. And Jamie says she just opened the YouTube for a district and working on that. So don't expect a big subscriber list on YouTube. We honestly try to post at least once a quarter. I think, like Jamie, for your strategy, even if you could try to post one video a month, that would be awesome. But don't over consume yourself. You've got to make sure that you're posting videos natively in the channel first. So Facebook, you want videos posted right in Facebook. You don't want a YouTube link. LinkedIn, Facebook Live, that's awesome. Yes, you can post those to YouTube. So Sue has a great question on, YouTube. When you post something on Facebook, on your page, you have the ability to actually download those videos. I'm just going to, let's just try to show you really quick here. I'm going to try to go to New Auburn School District. Here we go. You can't necessarily download a video off of somebody else's page, and I'm hoping this is going to work okay, but you know, we're live in the moment, right? We don't want that to play necessarily. This is maybe one that I would post or not post, but see how I click these right 3 dots and then you can download video? You download the video onto your computer and then you could upload it to YouTube. So that's a great way. So, you know, if you don't have anything on your channels right now, go back. This didn't happen to be Facebook Live, but there have been some things that have been on Facebook Live, like this one with Senior Walk. You can still go in there and you can download. So I hope that helps, Sue. That is a great question, and it is a strategy that I have used. So that's good. You basically just want to show up on YouTube, right? If somebody does search your school, you want to show up and not something else. LinkedIn is something, and I'd love to know from people on here if you're using LinkedIn. That would be awesome, because I'm still trying to write a nice blog. I'm just trying to find enough schools that are using it in a great way. But LinkedIn is great for business professionals, dads, community. You can reach those people. So you could have a personal, like your superintendent could share, or some of your teachers could share on a personal district or LinkedIn profile, or you can have a school page. You could post daily if you wanted, or a couple times a week. And you could really use LinkedIn as building up those business partnerships in the schools, because it is business focused. But just so you know, LinkedIn is really advanced since Microsoft purchased them like a year or 2 ago for like billions of dollars. They have really made a lot of advancements and investments in the platform. And so it could be something worth looking at. Again, if you're overwhelmed with Facebook, don't consume yourself with LinkedIn, but it is good. And Lisa just shared, we use LinkedIn to recruit advisory council members, mostly working on building up the community and corporate partnerships. So, all right, good. Jamie, I'm kind of on your same page there. Pinterest, Snapchat, video. You know, Pinterest, think resources, helpful guides, that kind of stuff. Snapchat, it's a great spot to get students involved, telling those stories. We do have a webinar on Snapchat if you're interested. Vimeo, a little bit more control over video suggestions after your videos play. That can be kind of tough on YouTube. So there are a lot of other channels. Did I miss any? You can definitely put in the comments if you think I missed a major platform. But again, Facebook definitely #1. And Pam just shared, she's a big advocate on LinkedIn. Many business people, moms and dads, can access this at work, but not other channels. So that's a good point. And Sue just shared lots of cyberbullying on Snapchat. You got to be careful, right? And we have not done district Snapchat account, so I don't have direct involvement with that. But obviously, from student to student use of Snapchat, of course, there's that possibility. Although, unfortunately, cyberbullying can happen on any channel as well. So that is, gosh, I thought that, you know, I thought maybe I'd go faster than everybody else. You guys all laughed because you're like, Andrea has a lot of words to use. So now we're on 3 of 8 for our social media blueprint. Branding. Branding is so important. Any of you looking at branding, this has a lot of examples. And so, you know, really making some of these platforms and standard graphics is really key. Just so you know, we have a graphics special that we're actually extending through mid-August, and I'll talk about that a little bit at the end. But the 3 main things with branding are your school colors, creating those graphics, and generating that district-wide hashtag. So with your school colors, you need to have an RGB or hex code. If you're not sure, there is a Chrome extension, like different ones. This one's called Eyedropper, but it'll actually give you these color codes just right on your Chrome extension if you hover over a color. So if you don't have one, let's just say if I was using that Chrome extension and I put my little cursor over this maroon color in the Barron logo, it would give me that color. So you got to start somewhere. So pick one and then stick with it and make sure people have it and that you're using it to create new graphics. Definitely you want to make sure that you've got a really clean look on your social channels. So here we've got a very clean professional icon that fits in the circle. You guys, make sure your logo fits in the circle. You're customizing your username. You got a nice photo collage, not of your building. That's a big pet peeve of mine. We're changing out these pictures quarterly. And again, we provide a graphics package like this if you are interested in getting this help, because I can't do this. Allison, our graphic designer, can. So that's really important. Your cover photo size should be 1200 by 675. If you go into Canva to create one, it's not going to create it at that dimensions. You got to note that the top and bottom fifth get cropped on desktop view. So the graphic that we create has a lot of black space on top and bottom over to the left because mobile view looks like that. Desktop view, it gets cropped off. If you don't create it at 1200 by 675, your words, like here, that like a cane and the Instagram symbol, those might be cropped off when you go to mobile view. And guess what? On mobile view, it's like 80% of your people interact with your page on mobile. So very important. And this is just another example of the graphic that we can create, but you can create it too. Just some good examples. I love this because I get a feeling when I look at this. Like I see students, I see young students, I see older students, I see staff, I see a mascot, I see smiles, I see boys and girls, all that. You want to make sure to try to represent some of the diversity in your school, all of that on these cover images. But images matter, and this branding matters, and look at how the colors are used. Really good examples here. These are some, this is back when I started. Everybody can feel good about themselves because I started and I was creating my own graphics and they looked like this, which was horrible. But look at what it looks like on mobile. See how those words are cut off and this poor little boy's face. I can't even tell that he's flexing there, but I can on the other one. Although I was trying, right? I'm going to give myself credit for that. But just so that you know that that's an example of what you don't want to do. So look at if you do a new graphic, look at it on mobile, look at it on desktop so that you know. Twitter, 1200 by 407, a portion of that top and bottom gets cropped as well. So you just want to make sure that you know that that's going to get cropped on mobile. And so that's kind of why we create it the way we do. Standard graphics. Who in this group that's listening right now, 21 of you live, who's got some standard graphics that they have that they can use if they're at the dentist office and somebody says, oh my gosh, can you post this? And so you easily can grab your FYI out of your Google folder and post that. Does anybody? Yes, Megan has it. Good job, Megan. And Pam has it, and Jamie. Okay, Sue, you don't. And Christine has some. Angie has some. This will just make your life easier, you guys. We're all at Social School for EDU. We want to make your job easier. Have these graphics set up. One of our add-on graphic packages will just create all these for you. But you can create them in Canva, right? Get a standard template, and you can create those ahead of time. These are all our special ones that we get ready for that can almost accomplish anything. FYI, special announcement, important info, sports update, cancellation, thank you, mark your calendar, weather update, no school. I would maybe adding join our team or now hiring, because it's great to get those messages out there as well. So standard graphics, awesome. Last thing in branding is power of a hashtag. Tell me your hashtag in the chat bar. Yeah, Erin, yeah, the join our team option is good. Tell me what your hashtag is over in the chat bar. And everybody listening to this on the recording, we're going to have a link back to all of the chat roll. It's going to be linked on the document where you access this from. So we got hashtag GVA proud, hashtag relate and innovate, Husky Pride 116, Pacelli Pride, Build GBSD. What I love, we are Pittsville, go ESCO, we are TIP. What I love is that you guys didn't have to like start thinking about what is it. It looks like they're just starting to new, oh my gosh, Allison, I love it. Believe in BCISD. Believe in BCISD. That's so awesome. I've got some favorites and maybe I have them in here, but and Pam, you're working on it, getting the student input. That's awesome that you would get your student input. But hashtags allow everybody to be part of the story. One customized hashtag, easy to find stories. Everybody can get involved. Put it everywhere, right? Put it on your announcements, on your sports announcements, your programs for your concerts, your front doors. You've heard me talk about this a lot, so I won't bore you with it, but we do have an article on this that's very easy, less than $20 to get these made at a local sign shop, to get them on all your main entrances. But you really want to make sure to re-emphasize that hashtag. You can follow a hashtag on Instagram. You might even be able to follow the hashtag on Twitter now. Well, obviously, you type it up in the search bar, and you get all of these stories, which is really powerful. And then you can retweet them on your district story, or it's just an opportunity that everybody will use it, right? And follow it, and it's really, really powerful. So some of my other, I got to get another blog ready, but one of them was like Life at the 803. That's one of my favorites. And so anyways, but Believe in BCISD, I really like that one. I also like Tanya's NSSD for kids. So, you know, that your school district is for kids. I love that you're including that, and just start using that everywhere. So, all right, we got branding covered. We're almost halfway done. System. I'm huge on, you got to have a system to get the content. And you guys, school's not started yet. It's time, if you don't have a system, to get it added. Okay, Lisa asked a great question about hashtags quickly. So she's asking, do you monitor hashtags for what content is posted? Okay, so I'm not monitoring hashtags to see if there's something bad out there, but I am looking at hashtags to see what I can retweet. I will see sometimes something that's maybe not appropriate, or some parent complaining about something, which actually happened last year with one of our school districts. A daughter must have gotten a little bit bullied on the bus right after school. He tagged the district. I don't think he used our hashtag, but he actually tagged the district. So we got notified right away. We contacted our main contact. They contacted the principal. The principal reached out to the parent, and then we were like able to resolve it. So monitoring those it's important to pay attention, but I wouldn't say you're consciously looking for bad stuff, because mostly it's mostly going to be good. But it's not a bad thing to be looking through there. If people are honestly using your hashtag, especially on Twitter, looking at that on a daily basis to get some retweets out on your district page, because remember, that helps enforce people to be like, oh my gosh, the district retweeted what I shared. I'm going to share more stuff. Awesome, because you get more stories told about your school. So it's a way to reinforce that. So I would look daily. If you don't have a lot of uses of Twitter, which like we don't in Little New Auburn, the only thing I find on there is like lost dogs or something that people are posting. And so it's not worth it. But you can definitely take a look. So I hope that answers your question, Lisa. Okay, building a system. And I like this quote specifically, big things often have small beginnings. So it's a small thing to get this system set up, but it has big impact for your whole entire district. It takes a team. You have to have a system. You have to have a team, because it cannot rely on one person. If you have a communications person in your district, you are lucky. If you have a team, you're even luckier. If you have one person, or if you just have one person assigned, you're a library person, or your secretary or teacher that volunteered. They can't do it alone. It has to be a team effort. So there's a few things to think about. Your social media manager, your content, and then the expectations for everybody to participate. So your social media manager, like I just say, if everyone's responsible, nobody's responsible. I really believe in having one person, one voice that kind of manages the social media platforms and gets things out there. A small team can work. You can have a few, several people in there that are sharing, but you have to make sure you're looking at when other people are posting. You need to have a similar look and feel and voice to what you're posting. So you just got to be careful. But I'm a big advocate of, yes, you should have somebody responsible, but if that person goes on vacation, somebody else has to be able to fill in, right? We all need kind of a backup. When people are working with us, and I don't know if Melissa's on, but Melissa Marty is one of our account managers. She's aware 7 days a week of what's going on that page. She is tech savvy. She has great grammar. She is super creative. She is engaging with the posts that she writes. She loves social media. If you're not if you don't fit this bill, you shouldn't be the social media manager. And I know that's hard. I don't mean working 7 days a week, but I'd say 7 days a week aware, because you need to at least be glancing at it to see if any new comments or concerns popped up over the weekend. You should be able to schedule so you're not having to do new posts. And you obviously have to be very organized as well. I should have added that. But so that's what you're kind of looking for in that person. So hopefully, most of you are account managers. Hopefully that fits you to a bill. Now, we try to put everything back to our mission, and our mission can be your mission. We want to share content that celebrates students and connects communities. And if it's not celebrating our students or staff, then maybe it doesn't belong on social media. Maybe it does, but try to keep that consistent and letting your staff know that those are the stories you're trying to get. And then we really believe, again, with setting up a system, make it easy for people to submit content. Make it easy so that they don't have 5 different ways to submit content. They have one way. Maybe you want to offer 2, but the more you offer, the more confusion can set in. So just be aware of that. We use an email. We set up an email and we ask everybody to submit 1 or 2 things a month to that email. That comes to us, but that Social School for EDU logo could be you. And then you're the one making the post, uploading the video, monitoring the conversation. Okay. This makes it easy when you have a social media email address or a communications email that goes to a central spot. Because guess what? Jamie Brace gets a lot of emails every single day. And if all of a sudden she starts to work on social media and she remembers that, oh yeah, Mrs. Corey from the 1st grade classroom, she sent me something and it was 2 days ago and I got to go find it. If it's in a separate email box, then you know that you can organize it properly, okay? So, Jamie, you do it all the time. So, Jamie, it's time to get a separate email. What a perfect time, because guess what? You are not going to work at your school forever, okay? Even though some of you, like my mom is almost at 40 years, right? She is almost working there forever. But you're not going to work there forever. So create an email that's going to live on beyond when you're there. And it also works when you're not there. So if you go on vacation and you say, hey, I'm on vacation, so could you, you send out an email to everybody, send your content to Kevin because he's going to be watching it while I'm gone. Are they going to remember to send it to Kevin? No. Let the system stay the same and just set up that email address. And then log into it, once a day. That will feed really well into our time, Finding the Time webinar in September of 2019. That's going to help you out. So again, we request faculty and staff email in. If you're a bigger district, just 1 thing a month. If you're a smaller district, like less than 2,000 students, you might ask for 2 things a month. Photos are critical. Email it in. I say avoid texting, Facebook messages, carrier pigeon. You can do Google Forms. I think some of that makes it more difficult. If I have email on my phone, I'm having people while they're watching, while I'm explaining it to them, I say, hey, send a test email to social media at, whatever your school is.com, and put test in the subject line. Then the next time they want to send something in, they just start typing in SOC, and guess what? It is going to pop up. So that's really critical. I say avoid texting because, again, if you're on vacation, then the other person isn't going to get it. And sometimes if you've got them in all these different places, it's easy to miss something. So it's just easier success rate if you have one method. You can also follow other pages. So hopefully if you've got, if you empower your staff to have Facebook pages, look at that. You can do see pages feed, and you can actually follow pages. And so we like, the PTO or, Mrs. Dressel's 4th grade class or whatever. And then those posts will show up on your pages feed. It makes it very easy to post from there. So you can let them know that. I always just let them know that if you share something really awesome, you should still shoot me an email, because I might miss it, because if I have other great content to share, I might not be going to look for things. And Dawn just shared that she does lose some stuff because they send it through Facebook Messenger and then she forgets about it. So just learn from us, learn from our mistakes, right? Take our advice. You think you're being helpful to these people, but really it does. And I am still guilty because I work with such a small district. I'm just trying to accommodate, but it would be better just one method of getting content. Again, these expectations, each staff member submits 1 to 2 things a month. Photos are critical. Brief explanation, 1 or 2 sentences. Really stress that, going back into the new year, meeting with your staff and saying, hey, this is what you need to do. Here's the email. Here's what kind of stuff we're looking for. Do 1 or 2 sentences. Because if they get more than 1 or 2 sentences, a lot of times it doesn't make sense, or it gets just too much where you don't even want to put it out on Facebook. Now, longer stories are okay for Facebook. They definitely are. If people are going to read it, they're going to read it. So don't be too worried about that, but just make it easy for the staff members. So this is just an easy email. She sent a couple pictures and had a little description, and then that ended up getting created into a post where we maybe added a couple emojis, and it's all good, right? So that's just an example of how it works. So that is really the system. The other thing is just making sure with these expectations that you really get, and I'm probably going to talk about it more, but in support from your management, your leadership team. Your superintendent and your principals, they have to help reinforce these expectations all the time. At every staff meeting, maybe when they see people, they should be like, hey, this is awesome. Did you send this in for social media? Because our community needs to see this. Like, you really need to have those cheerleaders and those supporting folks that are in charge really help reinforce these expectations. All right. Staff engagement. Staff engagement is key. It's really the only way that this works, is that if you get staff engaged. So making sure that they realize that you are there to help celebrate all the awesome things happening. And although we can't shut out the negative, we can make the positive so loud that it's almost impossible to hear. I know it because I've seen it in the more than 80 school districts that we've served. You've seen it in your districts. So you just need to make sure that they know that you are there to support them and cheer them on. Biggest thing with staff engagement is training and tools. You need to have proper training, and you need to give them the tools to be successful. So, the training, we share quite a few slides when we launch with a new school district, but the big thing, these are kind of the main keys, are where to submit your content, make sure to follow us on social media, comment and share, because that's going to help our stories be seen by more people. Email in your personal bios and photos. So we really like to do staff features. And so that's something, if, to build engagement, nothing better than to celebrate your staff and then share back and say, oh my gosh, your post reached 6,000 people. Now, if your shy little librarian is like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed of that. Everybody's not going to want to be featured, but a lot of people are. And then reminding people, like if they tweet, tag the district, use the hashtag. So these are really important things. If you're not planning to spend at least 10 minutes with all of your staff at back to school time for your like in-service convocation, whatever you call it, then that is a mistake. Who's spending at least 10, comment right now of everybody listening, who is spending at least 10 minutes talking about social media when you go back to school? Because if content is an issue or staff engagement is an issue, you gotta be able to get this FaceTime. And if you have questions of what to cover, I shared not too long ago that little video that we showed to all of our schools. Sue, it's not haven't in the past, but it's on your to-do list. Oh yeah, and Erin, you meet with new hires. I do that too with some of our bigger districts. We're doing a separate kickoff with just their new hires so they understand the process. It's explained a little bit more. And that's also a great time when you're with new hires. If you get some FaceTime with them, give them 15 minutes to do a little bio and share a couple pictures so that you can put those out on social media. But yes, please do at least 10 minutes with them. That is key. This was a suggestion. No, I'm going to draw a blank on his name, but he shared this to just a little flyer, and I'm not exactly sure. It's kind of laminated and cut out. I'm not sure where he placed this, but you know, he gave some tips for seamless submissions. You know, it's easy to submit good news and 3 ways to share it and spread it. So really good. And I loved like his big pointer here is zoom in with your feet. Don't zoom with your camera, right? Because everybody's trying to zoom here and then you lose the quality. So I love it because that takes some pointers off of our how to take good pictures. Oh, Jamie, he said he posted it in workrooms and on the copiers and stuff. Okay, so that's awesome. So just post it everywhere that, hey, it's really easy to submit content. Even if you had like a little note card size sticker or something that they could put right on their computer or right next to their desk. Or I love the like mouse pads that all of a sudden has your hashtag and then it's got the ways to submit content. Think of how much that would save you. Like they don't have to look for it. It's already right in front of them. So those are some good ideas. Lunch and Learn. Erica from Community School District 200 in Illinois is coordinating a Lunch and Learn program that she's taking to every school building, I think maybe 18 school buildings. You know, it's voluntary, but she's feeding them. So it's free food. And then just really trying to engage them. So think about ideas like this that you could use. And by the way, Erica agreed that she will be sharing this in an upcoming skills session so she can kind of talk through the process. So that'll be good. Also coming up for a skills session, Kristen Boyd Edwards did a social media boot camp for some of her contributors for social media. She's going to be sharing with that as well. So yeah, Lunch and Learn idea is awesome. The tools, hopefully we make it easy to give them tools because we have so many handouts. So 100 ideas, 50, like, I don't know what to submit. Well, here's a list of 100. And if you get done with that list, here's 50 more. Facebook Live, you know, we've got a lot of tools here. And as you see other ideas, like in our Facebook group for the membership community, you can share those ideas, right? So it's good. We also have just the social media bingo challenge that kind of puts some, hey, maybe you can wear jeans on Friday. You don't always have to give away prizes, real, you know, money prizes. It can be a parking spot or, like I said, jeans on Friday or something like that. But social media bingo challenge, which I have linked. So this actually has the free downloads and it's also in our files section. But this kind of talks about how some schools are doing that. So if you gamify it a little bit, get the teachers excited. And then just also with staff engagement, what about student engagement? In Nebraska, they have some students that help out with Instagram stories. So think about how you also can engage your students. And then just student projects. So this was a rap that this gal had written on breast cancer. And we put that out on social media. So that was awesome, right? Like, have your teachers think about how they can highlight their students and their projects and then share those out on social media. It's awesome. And then if you're low on content, a mass email doesn't really work to everybody, okay? But if you communicate specifically to a teacher and ask them for something, guess what? They respond. So I just said, hey, it'd be great to get something. I know you're doing great things. And of course, then he shares it. And then don't forget to say thank you. So with your staff, don't forget to say thank you. We have some, saying thank you with an email is great, but actually we had created some cards, and we're sending those out to our school. So just think if you had your hashtag on there, and this is like a postcard, but if it's just blank on the back, you could just say thank you. Sometimes I wonder if I post too much. Any guidelines there? Sue, how often are you posting? We say on Facebook, you should probably be posting no more than 5 times a day. So, and you should be spacing those out by a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours at least. So 6 to 8 times is probably a little much, depending on how quality your content is. If it's simple reminders, those don't reach a lot of people. There are going to be some days like back to school day, right? Or homecoming week, some of those days where you're going to be posting more. But otherwise, I would just say the average, I think, for Facebook is about 5 times a day. Yeah, not stories, but a lot of event reminders. Think about look at how many people those event reminders are reaching. It's not always a lot of people. I'm going to challenge you, use Facebook stories only to post some of those reminders. It's only up there 24 hours and it won't muck up your news feed. So share that as a Facebook story. And if you need help with that, I can share a little video in our Facebook group. So great question. I love it. I have somebody raising their hand, Liz, but maybe I'm just going to lower it, but just please chat in your messages. I'm not watching the Q&A. Yeah, everybody's using the chat box. Okay. We're on number 6, consistency. Consistency is key. And really, if you've built up all of the rest of it and then lose your focus on social media, it's going to hurt you. So success on social media, success on anything in life is nothing more than a few disciplines practiced every single day. So we got to do planning, batching, and daily interaction. Planning really talks about what features or campaigns are you going to do. Scheduling out some of those reminders. Hey, don't forget no school on Friday, right? And then obviously you just want to plug in all your everyday awesomeness around that. But if you can have some solid things planned out for those features or campaigns, it's going to make your job easier. And at the beginning of the month, being able to schedule out some of those reminders. So just make sure that you're planning things like Throwback Thursday. Now's a perfect time. Nobody's at school, hopefully yet. Take some pictures of those old yearbooks and schedule those out. Right now, you could schedule those out through Christmas, and then at Christmas break, you could get them scheduled out for the rest of the school year. You can do your staff features. You can do new staff features, right? You can do student features. And I just wanted to kind of share, I'll share a little bit more in detail of how we kind of batch those out. But these are just all the kind of campaigns that you can think about. What new campaigns are each of you planning or thinking about doing for this next school year? I think I saw somebody's idea for this year. Well, obviously, you're going to try to talk to your staff. What new features are you going to try to commit to for the 2019-20 school year? Maybe only adding one of these is great, but a bunch of these are ideas, okay? And they're really good engagement. They drive a lot of engagement for the schools that use them. Senior features can be done in a lot of different ways, right? Highlighting their next steps. So if you are planning any of those, please mark those in the chat bar. I'd love to hear about them. With your features or campaigns, you can really plan those out 1 to 6 months at a time, because right in Facebook, you can plan out 6 months. I'd say with your reminders, like if anything with school calendar type stuff, maybe you batch those out at the beginning of the month. But if you set yourself time, 1 to 2 hours, and really if you're just only doing a month, if you do an hour at the beginning of the month, you're going to have all of those things planned out and you're not going to be stressed then throughout the school year or throughout the month thinking, oh my gosh, did I forget something? No, you already have it all planned out. Now all you have to do is add in what your staff is sending you. And Jamie's going to highlight new teachers, which is awesome. So thank you for sharing that. Let us know how it goes. So just as an example for student features. So we do student features in New Auburn. First, we gather nominations from the staff. We get one student nomination per staff member. So that's going to give us, it's a small school, so 30 students, right? So we're going to gather those nominations. Then we take the photo, and I just take the photo with my iPhone 10 because it's got a great camera. Then we create the graphic in Canva. We have that template that you can kind of see up there in the corner. And then we schedule them out on Facebook. So we do it in a very systematic way. So then when it does come back, like I'm able to just create all the graphics in Canva. And then once they're created, then I can schedule them all out. And then guess what? I don't have to think about them for 3 or 4 or 5 months. And it's awesome. So that's really good. And then there is daily interaction. For the consistency, there is daily interaction required. You can't just set it and forget it, right? You got to monitor comments. You got to respond to questions. You got to invite people to like the page that have already interacted with it. And I know all of you on the call probably know, but make sure you can click on these names once they've liked a post, and then you can actually click this invite button, and it just gives them a gentle nudge to say, hey, you haven't actually liked our page yet, and so you can invite them to like it. That's really good. We use the Facebook Page Manager app to do a lot on our phone. It makes it a little bit easier, so just think about that. And that's kind of the consistency part. It'll help you be consistent. All right, we're down to the last two here, and we're straight up at noon, so we're doing well. Social media blueprint for schools, number 7 is measurement. You know, you have to measure what you're doing and report the results, or you're not going to get the buy-in that you need. People might see it as a waste of time. You're playing around on Facebook. You know, how is that really making a difference? Well, if you measure it, you'll show them. So you got to collect data. You got to generate some type of a report card, and then you got to be able to use that information to improve. So some of the data that we track are total fans, weekly reach, the number of posts, and our engagement. And I'm not going to go through exactly where to find all those numbers. Hopefully you know, but those are some of the key things that we track. And then, you know, you can look at a lot of these things on Insights on your Facebook page. So just go to your Facebook page, go to Insights, and then right here on the overview, you can get a lot of this total reach and engagements and things like that. You can stack yourself up to other school districts. So your superintendent, your school board members will love this because there's some competition, right? So where are we stacking up? These are all districts we serve. We have all level of posts for the summer. Summer's going to be less, so your engagement is going to be a little bit less. But you look at this, Port Edwards is just killing it with that engagement number. That's something to really be proud of. So you can watch that data, but then ultimately you have to track it and you have to report it back. This was really good to be able to show them. I'm not sure what school district this was for. This might have been Piqua City in Ohio. They grew 233% in 17 months. Like, that's a lot, right? And then we're tracking how many people are they reaching each week. Over 12,000 people a week, 3 posts a day. Well, guess what? When my teachers see that, they're going to know that, oh my gosh, this is really like reaching people. I'm going to send in more content, right? But you have to develop that. And so this is just an example. And I think I'll have a link to the example. We put these together for schools that are in our coaching program. So if you're interested in that, let us know. It's not really that much more money than the membership program itself. And then you'd already have it. But you definitely want to do that. We're also looking at a few tools that might be able to help make this easier. And as I learn about those, I will bring those to you. We like to stack ourselves up against other schools too. So being able to say, hey, you know, likes is fine, but that's not really a measurement of the success of your page, of how many fans you have. The real thing is how many people are you reaching each week? And so look at this, Reading reaching over 30,000 people a week with almost 3 posts a day. They are doing awesome. And Kristen Boyd Edwards is doing awesome. That's why she's going to share some of her success later in August. But that's key. And then, you can see Page Insights just right on your phone. Don't be afraid if you're talking to somebody in person to share that information. Or if a post that somebody submitted reached a lot of people, they don't get to see the metric. So email them back and say, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Look at how many people this reached, okay? This is really important. How many of you on the call right now are doing a good job of reporting back? And maybe that's on your list, and that's okay, because we're not gonna score 100%. I'd really like to know how many of you are. Well, I know some of you are, because some of you work with us, so you're reporting back. Just curious. Lisa, it's on your list. That's awesome. Let this be some examples. Allison does it twice a year, and she reports it to your superintendent. Make sure it gets to your school board too, and I would say it needs to get to your staff. The mouse pad idea from Inspira, make nicest pads with our hashtag. That's awesome. That's going to be really, really good. So you measure and then you also improve. So what are your popular posts? Do more of those. Low reach posts, do less of those, right? Don't waste your time on some big feature if it's not really doing well. Facebook and Instagram stories, posting times, try, pivot, fail, improve, all of that. Jen, I love it. You report monthly to the board and the superintendent. That's great. But yes, you need to make sure to improve. And then the last thing, and we're almost done, which my water guy is going to love to hear because he's here to do work. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he can't come before noon because I'm doing a webinar. But I'm nice and I won't make you be on camera, so that's good. Ongoing professional development. I love this. Even though you're growing up, you should never stop having fun. Guess what? That means you need to continue to learn, continue to be surrounded by people that are going to inspire you to be able to help your school tell its story. So ongoing professional development for you and for your staff is key. Networking, training, trying new things. That's what I'm saying. So networking, who can you talk to in your neighboring districts? I met a group of ladies. Are you on here? Dawn, Gold, and you guys have created your own little group in Ohio, and you meet to share ideas and like just network there. Statewide organizations. So it could be your local SPRA chapters or state school public relations chapters. There's National School Public Relations Association, Twitter, hashtag school PR, hashtag K-12 PR chat. Look at those. They're great places to network. And then eventually you'll meet them in real life like I did with Jason Wheeler, and then you take obnoxious selfies. But now networking is really important to keep you on top of the game. Why? Because guess what? Social media, it changes every day. Every single day it's changing, and it's frustrating, but it's also job security for you because you're going to stay on top of it and help your school. Training, NSPRA offers great training. Your state SPRA chapters offer great training. Hashtag social school for EDU. You guys, we got your back when it comes to social media. APR is a great place to advance your school PR skills into accredited public relations person. And I don't have that. I have many of you maybe on here are. I just would encourage you, continue to grow, continue to learn. And then just finally is, just trying new things. Follow other schools. Pay attention to our membership group because you get a lot of ideas. And I know a lot of you are like, you see me and you're like, I'm not as active as I should be. Don't let it be overwhelming, but pop in there. And if you can steal some great ideas, awesome. But the other thing is, do not be humble. We want to know what works really well. So sometimes I'll be talking to somebody and I'll be like, oh my gosh, you got to put that in our group so everybody can see it, right? So follow other schools, use different video apps, new platforms, watch videos, training. Fail fast, succeed faster. You guys, you're going to fail. You are going to do Facebook Live sideways. That's okay, all right? You got to start somewhere, and the next time it won't be so scary. So fail fast, succeed faster. So, all right, I am done. I covered all of my content, so I didn't do too bad. What other questions do you have? Again, I'm going to be announcing winners with that follow-up email and message that I put out with all of our content from today. But one thing that I just want to make a note of is we did extend the sale for our graphics package through August 15th. So our main social media package, it includes our Facebook, Twitter cover, 3 social squares, and then you get 3 additional updates throughout the year. It's normally $1,000. You can save $100 on that before August 15th. So if you know that graphics are something you need help with, and look at the great job we did for Suffolk schools, we can do that for you. And then we've got some add-ons where we can get all those standard social squares for only $250 more on top of that. And then if you've ever gotten one of these from before, we actually have a new social media add-on that we can re-update these pictures for 4 more times and get you 3 more social squares. And that's $600, but that would be on sale for $500 until August 15th. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, Lisa. Any other questions that anybody has? I'd love to be able to answer them and dig in. Otherwise, we've got the live webinar. Oh, those are my beautiful graphics. Yes, Pam, don't they look beautiful? I bet you love using them. Yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know. Tune in on Thursday. We've got some live office hours coming up. You guys, we have a big year of learning. I took some great webinars off of the 2019 seminars from NSPRA. We've got Matthew Miller, he was the superintendent of the year, talking about amplifying student and teacher voice, a superintendent district plan. We've got Thirsty, here's a fire hose, what to do, what to use, and how to bring the tools together. We've got one on taking great pictures. We've got one on attracting millennial teachers. We're filling in a bunch more. But stay tuned because they're all going to be there live and they're going to be there in recorded version for you. We really appreciate everything you do for your schools. It's important. We hope the handout helped. We hope these 8, kind of ideas to think about helped as well. And we will just see you next time, you guys. I'm just going to get wrapped up because I don't see any other pressing questions, and I don't think anything got put in our Q&A folder. So we will just, you guys have an awesome day. I'm going to rest my voice now. It's my 3rd presentation today, so I'm a little talked out, which my husband will be really happy with because then I won't have to talk the rest of the day. Yeah, it is a little bit of a reset, Jamie. So you guys, good luck. Let me know if you have questions and have an awesome day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.